With this first myth here, and that is that test-based accountability is a valid, fair, and research-based approach. It assumes that policymakers develop policy on the basis of what research says is best for children. The test developers assert, if you go to their website, McGraw-Hill, if you go to Pearson, they'll always say that you should never use a test in the way that, in fact, we're using it. You shouldn't use it as a primary or sole determinant in making high-stakes decisions on behalf of children. Of course, there's educational organizations, nationally renowned ones, that assert the exact same thing. But it is significant that there's these disclaimers by the testing companies themselves. If you remember the earliest articulations of No Child Left Behind, it did involve the soft bigotry of low expectations, right, that supposedly this country held against racial and ethnic minorities. You might start picturing George Bush in your head with the idea that this was going to be an equity promoter. And yet, if you actually read legislation, what you'll see is that race really holds this epiphenomenal place in policy development. English language learners are more of an afterthought, in as much as, even in House Bill 3 that led to the New Star system, even as much as they're included, it's more about accommodations than anything substantive having to do with race, culture, or language. It's power evasive, it's culture blind. I have a book called Leaving Children Behind that lays out throughout the various pieces the contributions from those of us in Texas who have looked at the system, that really the standardization process, the test-based accountability, is ultimately an assimilationist cultural erasure or cultural eradication agenda. It's also opportunity blind. Again, it's in the same way that the court case was, it's opportunity blind. You people are familiar with the Opportunity to Learn discourse here in California, right? It's been a big conversation here. Children are treated like objects, they're objectified. This is something that I saw early on in subtractive schooling. Children's worth is reduced to a number on a piece of paper, and children feel that. They feel alienated from school. And CLB also, when we attach the high stakes to the schools, it punishes diversity. Who wants to be in a school that's very diverse and poor, and the two often come together because race and class overlap heavily in this country. But who wants to be in a school where you're going to get dinged with all kinds of consequences potentially attached to it because your population is test challenged? They get characterized as liabilities. I mean, we have a whole system that transforms, our children, our beautiful assets that come from our communities, that come from our families, and we treat them like they are liabilities to us, rather than as having all of this potential to be creative, imaginative, and civic-minded, social justice-oriented, and the like.